Blessed day, soul family. Welcome back. It is Wellness Wednesday, and we are in our series talking about massage. Why would we be talking about massage? I mean, we can think about how wellness and massage can correlate, go hand in hand in terms of restoring emotional balance, mental balance, psychological balance, and contributing to what in Qigong we call the quality of Qi. Quality of Qi in Qigong, along with quantity, is what we're always searching for, looking for, and building conditions for. So when we build conditions for improving quantity or quality, we employ strategies. And sometimes those strategies can be um, categorized into kan and li, essentially fire and water. Fire to apply some heat, water to cool any heat. So, for example, the body does this when we get sick. The body applies itself an inflammation response, a fever, and that in turn facilitates uh, the pushing out of whatever's sort of whatever the immune system has found to be kind of intruding on the homeostasis, on the balance. And when it's hot in the summer season, we'll go swimming or we'll drink a lot of water, stay hydrated, or eat something like watermelon or cantaloupe to cool down fire. Massage in this way can be categorized also as inflammatory or fire or li or water, kan, and relaxing. So, for example, exercise. Some people like to do hard, like heavy weights, exercise, sprinting, running fast exercise. That can be considered li. But something like Tai Chi Chuan or yoga can be relatively considered kan to produce some sort of uh, circulation flow of blood and influencing what the person might be trying to pursue as mind-body health. So massage, now you can see from the Qigong point of view, has a broad uh, definition. Just like Qigong has a broad definition, it's the study and um, the use and the engagement of the qi all around, the energy that's all around. But then Qigong also has a narrow definition as well. In the body, it's the bioelectricity, right? Within two people, there's contact Qigong. Um, let's say for your mental well-being, for your mental health, you might do something like go for a walk, or you might watch a movie or a television program, or have a conversation with a friend, maybe to get your mind off of things. And as it's Wellness Wednesday, we're going to do something that might help to foster um, peace of mind, wellness, and apply a little bit of the strategy and the theory to um, what we term as massage and um, how we may be feeling right now. So maybe you're encountering this video and you're a little um, agitated or uplifted, upregulated. And so when you look at these images, or you can imagine walking around and seeing the images, you can imagine, my teacher, Dr. Young, likes to say, I can put my I could put my feeling on your feeling. When we would be on the mountain and Dr. Young couldn't eat or drink certain things that, young kids might be able to get away with. He would say, I may not be able to eat it, but I can put my feeling where your feeling is there as I see you enjoying it. So we went on this garden tour, and I just really went to town with taking pictures and video of these flowers. And we know that flowers bring a lot of joy to people's lives. The in our area here in Southern Humboldt, we actually are surrounded by a large group, a large population of people who enjoy getting out in the garden, growing things like their own food, their own vegetables, and uh, and then seeing the fruits of their labor. Spring here as the time of bloom, where we put our attention and our energy into things that we want to manifest and grow and contribute to the world. So you can imagine even something like gardening, if that's bringing peace of mind to you, and then you're envisioning the flowers that you're going to be able to um, share with other people, or the fruit or the vegetables that you'll be able to share with your friends and with your neighbors, then you can just imagine, and you can put your energy and your attention on the feelings and the quality of energy that you're trying to cultivate. So let me know what you think. Are these images helpful in producing a sense of well-being, wellness, peace of mind to you? I mean, when we're studying the spiral, the yin yang, and Tai Chi, and nature's template, I talk a lot about how we see these reoccurring patterns, the spiral pattern. Do I not? And what happens when we interface with nature and we bring ourselves up front, face to face with some of these awe-inspiring natural occurrences? So massage, we could say in this way, my partner and I, Nona, going to this flower tour and garden tour on a Sunday on our day off, her being at the end of her school year. It's a little bit of a regulation exercise, a down regulation exercise, a mental massage, a physical massage, a psychological and emotional massage, us appreciating the nature, us appreciating the colors, the beauty, and then the gardeners appreciating our appreciation, and us being able to validate their work, right? Now, where are we going when we talk about massage? So tomorrow we're talking about conflict resolution. So today, another thing that I wanted to do was go back to our domains of wellness. So remember, we have 8 domains of wellness. And what would it look like to apply massage principles as you know them to the domains of wellness? So whether it be physical wellness, so imagine blockage, strife, or conflict in your physical body, and how massage might help to mitigate suffering and pain, right? Now, what about the emotional domain of wellness? Imagine blockage, strife, or conflict, and how it might impact your emotional well-being and domain of wellness. And what the strategy, what massage strategy you might employ, and how that might look to restore balance. Within the social domain of wellness? What does blockage, strife, or conflict look like? Within the intellectual domain, what does it look like? Within the occupational or vocational domain of wellness, what does strife, conflict, and blockage and massage look like? Environmental domain of wellness. It's important for us when we want to pursue wellness, the last one being financial, the financial domain of wellness. It's important to us if we want to procure balanced states of wellness within these eight domains, then we have to look at what is holding us back from achieving these balances or how we might envision balance, ultimate balance, harmony, right? And then, so going back to the domains, financial. What would be a financial massage to restore balance within that domain? What would environmental, fostering positive interrelationships between personal health and the quality of air, food, and water? What would be the the massage strategy in that case, your occupational or vocational domain, your personal enrichment and satisfaction from work. What about work-life balance? What does massaging work-life balance look like in this day and age where there's remote work, there's even AI that's, challenging jobs within the spiritual domain of wellness, searching for meaning of life, purpose in existence, personal values, beliefs, and faith. What is the massaging to have balance? So, like, for example, what does conflict look like in the spiritual domain of wellness? Well, if one spiritual doctrine is taking them to commit acts of violence and perpetuate war and violence on the planet, that might be a doctrine that's sort of out of balance with one's personal values and wellness, and also impeding the the wellness of others. So so we have a lot to think about and we have a lot to explore. And you can see how I really take the definition of massage and the aspect and strategies of massage when we're talking about these domains of wellness. And so that's why I wanted to take a whole week to look at all of these things and uh, and then just give some time to expand and tease out, because ultimately what we're trying to talk about is the Tao, right? The natural way, the natural law, aligning with nature and nature's template. Excuse me. Right? So that's why today we're talking about Qigong massage and spiritual bondage and the path to liberation. Do these flowers offer some moment in time of liberation when we are faced with war, conflict, strife, and um, we know that historically flowers have been a great gift in times of grief and pain and sorrow. So let's go back to the idea of massage. What is the power of touch? Why do we hug one another? Why do we have an impulse to hug one another? So Qigong, a lot of it, what we're looking at is the movement of the body, the movement of the breath, the movement of the energy. So if we take a hug, for example, and we break it down and we dissect it into mind, body, and breath, right? Our hug is our area of focus, our movement of focus. How do we break it down and understand it in terms of energy exchange? Well, we are faced with, and we are chest to chest with another person. Very intimate, very close, personal space. You're not going to give a stranger a hug unless the setting is such a safe and comfortable setting that a person you don't know, you're gonna hug them, right? But we do have a a guard that we put up oftentimes when we are in conflict and we don't want to hug another person. So we have to do some sort of interpersonal massage strategy to come to a place where we can maybe hug a person or even share space with another person, right? So remember that massage is a strategy that restores balance. Tomorrow we'll be talking about mediation as massage. And again, Qigong massage is an opportunity to connect with source, connect with Wu Ji, connect with the red circle when uh, we have perceived hero and villain, perceived left and right, perceived white and black, perceived um, opposing forces. In order to have opposing forces, in order to have uh, diametrically opposed energies, remember that there's an aspect of two as one. Those two in opposition create the one. And so remember our job, we talked about it yesterday in Tai Chi Chuan, is to harmonize and resolve conflict such that two can be remembered of their infinite source as one, right? And so the when we look for the Wu Ji, right, and we massage our minds to come back to the place of Wu Ji, sacred existence, coexistence, then we can share it and communicate it to the place, to the area that's out of balance. That's essentially what, a massage practitioner is doing and can do. Imagine a massage practitioner who's giving a massage, but they're not in a place of balance themselves. How might they influence or how might they be impeded to restore balance to the area they're trying to restore and heal? So we have to have the recognition and we have to have the awareness, especially within those 8 domains that we discussed on where our blockages, where our strife and conflict are, so that we can mitigate blockage and mitigate conflict. And we talked about how spraying is a great way to look at anger because anger is associated with the liver and liver is associated with spring, right? As we have this really nice weather, great weather, we're doing all these activities and doing these things because the weather is better, but that means that we're interacting more. That means that we have more on our plate. That means that our activities are such that they can become overwhelming. They can actually, activities and events that are there to facilitate interpersonal wellness and communication can actually impede and fatigue our own individual wellness and balance, right? So, so the emotion of anger and irritation and understanding that all humans experience emotion is an opportunity to just level with everyone and say, hey, we all experience emotion, we all experience uh, liver irritation, and then we can all give ourselves the benefit of the doubt that as spring blooms, so might irritation, so might anger, right? And so we could say that we all experience anger, but there's an aspect of it that's inside. Instead of looking to blame and externalizing the reason for our anger, we could also see how we contribute to our own upwelling of anger, our own energy fatigue, our own blockages, whether it be the eight domains: physical, financial, social, spiritual, blockage. And we could drop our masks and say, yeah, I I came up, I fell short in that moment, and I will strive to improve and do better, right? And that brings us to Nature Gong Fu, the Gong Fu of internal vision, right? Always trying to um, understand awareness and awakening for the sake of the release and the liberation from spiritual bondage, right? There's a great article, and Dr. Young's written it a couple of times, in a couple of different ways, um, and we should review, because when we look at liver and when we look at anger and when we look at spring, we then, following along the lines of um, emotional balance and liberation, we recognize how we have been abused and manipulated into wars and spiritual control by political and spiritual leaders. So you start your search for ways to set yourself free from bondage. This stage of freedom from bondage, die tuo, means searching for freedom from physical and spiritual so that you're able to reach spiritual independence. When you've reached this stage, your spiritual being can be independent and does not have to rely on someone else. Having reached this condition, you will not be easily abused. And in this case, abused, you will not be easily manipulated emotionally. So that's where anger and dropping the mask and having the courage to look at it empowers you now to have that awakening and that recognition, because there are forces that will try to stir up our irritation, our anger, right? Whether intentional or not intentional, right? So self-awareness is the process by which we look at that. Recognition is the willingness to drop the mask and say, yes, that does happen to me. And yes, I have fallen short and I will improve. So this is a great article. Once we understand the past, then we must analyze it and bring ourselves to a stage of awareness. Unfortunately, as we have seen, we are heavily influenced today by marketing and the allure of making money. Many movies and computer games focus on the dark side of our nature and ignore the development of the bright side. We must also recognize that today's spiritual science is still in its infancy, even though in the last century we've developed material science to an unprecedented level. Unfortunately, due to the dark side of our nature, we also developed weapons so powerful that they could wipe out the entire human race more than 100 times over. There are well over 13,000 nuclear bombs in the world today, prepared and ready to launch in an instant. The next war will be completely destructive. So you can see how now, when we talk about massage, we're including the societal implications of light versus dark and the prevalence and the propagation of continued violence and war on our planet. And so we have to then, again, with that self-recognition and self-awareness, look at our own lives and see what we are doing to um, either either contribute to the violence on the planet or the peace on the planet. That's our individual life learning and path. Yes, there are forces, large forces in the world, in the greater interpersonal, national and international relations where, yes, violence and war is propagated, but we also have influence that is within arm's reach. And so, what are we doing to cultivate what I call the discernment of, what did I say? The discernment of goodwill and the discernment of ill will. And how are we acting and even thinking from a place that is of goodwill or ill will, right? We can all we can all imagine ourselves as our own heroes in our stories. But when two heroes from two different narratives and stories clash, then you have conflict. So this is the journey and the path that I've found in my martial arts training and experience, in my meditation training and experience, in my Tai Chi training and experience, in my path to wellness, as I try to contribute in the world in a way that contributes to the peace on the planet, not the violence on the planet. And I am not without mistakes. I am also I can also be swayed to the dark side if I allow those seeds to bloom. So I want to cultivate the the goodwill, the benevolence, the martial morality, and that is why I put the energy and the time into my books and these talks, and also my website, yinyangtaichi.org, yinyangtaichi.org, where you can find my books and my courses. So let me know what you think, and I hope that resonates with you. And until next time, may your chi flow smoothly, and remember to embrace the woo.